If the top of your foot hurts, most likely you have an ill-fitting shoe. If
Okay.
the bottom of your foot hurts, you don't have the proper support. And most conventional shoes, and we're a therapeutic orthopedic constructed last, most of the conventional shoes have no support to it at all. Their inserts are flimsy, have no arch to it.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Feel the Difference podcast, where we're going to be talking about foot health and the importance of wearing the right shoes for your foot health. My name is 𝗗𝗶𝘀𝗰𝗹. I'm the host, and I have the owner, founder, and CEO of DT Footwear, Ron Heinlein, with us today. Welcome, Ron.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, definitely. So if we talk about foot health and shoes, that's kind of a broad subject. If we can kind of just hit some of the key points of when we talk about foot health. One, what exactly is foot health? Is it just washing your feet and trimming your nails? Or how does foot health and footwear, how do they kind of come together? And why is it important?
Let me give you an illustration I do to a lot of people. If the top of your foot hurts, most likely you have an ill-fitting shoe. If
Okay.
the bottom of your foot hurts, you don't have the proper support. And most conventional shoes, and we're a therapeutic orthopedic constructed last, most of the conventional shoes have no support to it at all. Their inserts are flimsy, have no arch to it, no metatarsal area, no heel cup or anything else from that point. Those are two elements that determine that it's needed for a healthy foot.
Okay. That's good to know. So there's two parts. When we're talking about the top of the foot, then what are some issues that would cause the top of the foot to hurt?
Lower toe box, and I'll show you a shoe here in a minute. Non-flexible upper, especially if you use PU
Why don't you just
or
grab
vinyl.
the shoe so we can actually see when you say non-flexible upper, I don't know what that necessarily means.
Okay, non-flexible upper is usually a man-made material. It doesn't have the flexibility, it doesn't emulate or doesn't conform to the foot. So there's no elasticity
Like a
to
fake
the upper.
leather type of thing?
Right. And
Okay.
synthetic leather, PU, what we call in the shoe business, doesn't breathe, doesn't have form of circulation. So you have the heat as well as the restricted aspects where it doesn't mold to problems. Tennis shoes are well known, as we see here, in the stretch material. That's a very important element because it emulates, it conforms right to your foot. If your foot swells, it goes with you. When you're down, it emulates to your foot. It conforms right to your foot. So that's important from that
Let me
aspect.
ask you this then. So I understand with the stretch material that the material itself can stretch and expand with your foot.
Right.
What about leather?
Right.
A genuine leather tennis shoe as an
Yeah.
example. Is there a difference
Leather
there?
has elasticity to it, and it's best to do what we call a full grain or a Napa leather, and that's mostly the two leathers we use in all our shoes and most of our shoes. And we do leather lining too. That really makes a difference as well, except in the athletic world. But what you find is that it does. But like I tell people with bunions, hammer toes, things like that, it will set and stretch over that bunion, but it takes a lot longer to do it. With a stretchable material, as you see here, it has instant gratification. It
There's
molds
no
right
break-in
to the
period.
bunion.
You
There
don't
is
have
no
to break
break-in
in the
period.
shoe. Okay.
Don't have to break in the shoe. That's the advantage. Just like we're doing some things for pickleball with the leather and mesh. We like that because the leather still gives us substantial support where they don't have a bilateral movement, but they have the mesh that conforms in spots that need to have it. Hammer toes, bunions are two areas well known, or bunionettes are well known for that instant gratification or that exit. But remember, you do it on the little toe, the pinky toe, and you have a bunionette, that's real sensitive. That's the weakest part of your body, is your fifth phalange or your pinky toe. It'll take a while for that because you've bruised it so much. Your big toe, your bunion can handle things, but the little toe, and I explain that to a lot of people as well. So uppers make a difference. And the height of the toe box makes a difference. Having this deeper toe box, a rounder toe box that almost all our shoes do because we're therapeutic orthopedic. We have the wiggle room, and that's important. If I get you the proper circulation with inserts and everything like that, and if I squeeze your toes like I'm doing here, like a vice, I've cut all the circulation. We have to have the freedom to generate the circulation. So the uppers do make quite a bit of difference, and there's certain uppers for certain reasons, and you have to have certain widths for certain situations.
Okay, so and you talked about bunions, bunionettes. I'm assuming that's a good indication there's squeezing going on, and that you should actually go with not necessarily a. I think a lot of people think, oh well, if my shoes are tight, if I just go a size larger, that'll fix it. Where a lot of times you don't necessarily need to go a size larger because that's going to improve the length, but going with a wider shoe, say from a David, which would be a normal width, correct, up to a 2E or a 4E or even a 6E or wider.
This is the best way to look at it. People ask me this question when they're on the phone. They think a 6E or a 9E especially is going to be great for anybody with wide feet or edema. And my question is your foot 2 or 3 times wider than normal? And when I hear 2, I know it's normally going to be a 10E. If it's twice the width, it's a 14E width, because that is an indication that your foot, and when I hear that I can't find my toes, they're down there somewhere, but my whole foot looks like one unit, that's definitely a 14. So, and then the longer you go, we always want to fit you, let's see if I can shoot. We always want to fit you in the widest part of the shoe, and that's this right here. That's called the ball width. Metatarsal's right below it. That's the ball width. Each time that we fit you longer in a shoe to give you the width, we start fitting the wider part of your foot into the narrower, or this portion down here. We start fitting you narrower. We don't set you back where you belong. We set you forward. And that's very common in all shoe stores. They go, oh, okay, I don't have a 4E, but you need a 6E. You wear 11. Let's go put you in a 12. That's just as bad as having a narrow shoe, because you're squeezing, your widest part of your foot is getting in the narrower part of the shoe. And that is a thing that I preach very, very much so. That's so important for everybody. Get you the right length, give you the right width, and we don't have to go longer. We can go the width that you belong, but we can go wider, where most people cannot do that.
Right. And you actually, on the website, you've got a fitment guide, because a lot of people just want to go off whatever their current shoe size is. And it's one of those things, if you don't know, you don't know. But if I've always worn, I'm just going to pick a number here, a size 10 and a 2E, and I'm having shoe problems, if I go to the website and I go, oh, okay, here's the shoe problem I'm having, and you get a size 10 and a 2E, you're not really alleviating the problem. So, let's talk about actually measuring your foot and why that's so important.
It's very important, because I do get people that order shoes and they buy a 12 6E and they said, oh, I know that fits. Okay, from that point. And my question, if they do call me, they can call back and say, all stock shoes can be returned or exchanged. We never ever hassle over credits or anything, and we're very good about that. But the situation, as I said, did you send us a size chart to us? No. I says, let's go back to at the beginning and start over. On the home page, 3/4 of the way down, you'll see soft tape measure. Okay. Up above that, there's a red bar that says more information. You click on that. Same video will come up. Follow that video, and on that same page is a chart. And that chart, I want you to fill it out by inches, and everybody can
clarify that we don't actually have a sizing chart on there. It's an actual form.
It's a fill-out chart. It's not a sizing chart.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's why I just want to
clarify. Because most people don't know how to read a sizing chart either.
Right.
Most people don't know what a Braddock and Rich stick is, and if they do, Rich stick only goes to 2E is the widest, and 4E in the Braddock, and they can't read that. I've been doing this for over 60 years, so I know how to read them, but I have to anticipate if they're wider, but I don't. Soft tape measure tells you from the heel all the way to the longest toe. the inches, left and right. You fill that in on the chart. And also ball width, weight bearing. And the ball width is not the circumference going around the shoe. It's the flat part, and the video explains that. We need to know left and right. If you have a high instep, or if you're wearing braces, or if you have major swelling, I want it around the instep, and this is called around the instep, all the way around, and around the ankle. This is the ankle. I want it all the way around. And that chart, fill that chart. And I told someone the other day, a couple of times, we asked, what's the last size you've had that's comfortable? And the mainly is for us to make sure you're giving us the right numbers. It's a pre-check, and it works very, very, because I found some people that have mismeasured themselves, and I know it real quick by seeing what. You send that in, you click that in, it goes to our office. We will have an answer back to you before the day is out about what length and what width we need to put you in, and we're usually about 95% correct in that fitting procedure.
Okay, very good, very good. So that's kind of, we've been talking about the top of the shoe, or the top of the foot. Now you're having problems, pain. And then you also talked about the bottom of the foot. If it's in pain, that's not necessarily the fault of the shoe per se.
The shoe is more of the rudder. The shoe keeps the control and doesn't let you expand too much and gives you support. All shoes have to have support. But most of them, and this is from one of our shoes, is actually a very good insert. But I can name you names, and I won't do that. Their insert is, I mean, just terrible.
They're flimsy.
Not
Yeah,
flimsy.
I've got
flimsy.
some in some of my shoes.
Oh, yeah. And this thing, it moves a little bit, but nothing compared to what you find. And you can see this is got a deeper heel cup. It's got a heel plug. From that, has a metatarsal support, has a raised arch to it, and this is what we call a retail insert. This is the insert that comes with it.
So you just threw out, could you keep that in your hand? You talked about a lot of things there. So like the heel cup itself, what's the purpose of having a good heel cup? Because a lot of the inexpensive inserts are flat. They don't have
flat. Yeah, they don't have any any indentation here. And what this is for is to set your foot in it and don't create bilateral movement. It wants to keep you within this realm, this durometer or this width in there. And that's what a heel cup's so important for. And you can tell good inserts by the heel cup. And from there, because a normal, most of them are just one flat. And there's no indentation to the heel. And that's what makes this unique and different. And again, this is our normal insert that comes with the shoe. We add our over-the-counter, what we call triple layer heat moldable customized insert that we give you free from 1 to 8 to 3 pair. They have that heel cup. This actually has a heel plug to it that's fantastic because it's like a shock absorber that you find in a car. When you go down and you step down, all your weight goes on your heel, then it's distributed out through the metatarsal down the bottom and through your metatarsal here, and that arch fills you in, and that's what I use this as an example. This is the insert. I'm filling in the arch and taking pressure off the metatarsal and off the heel. So that's what a heel cup is. That's what a heel plug is. It's fantastic. It gives you more added cushion and support.
Right. And then let's also clarify for people that the arch support is not built into the shoe, correct?
Right. Everybody says, I've got a high arch. Now, I want to make this clarified. Some people think this is the arch up here on the top. That's your instep. Okay. The arch is the bottom of your foot, where your foot cups up in here, the mid support. No shoe is built to give you support in here. No shoe, even if it's got a shank and everything, because it doesn't have a build out. You can't do it. This is what makes it with our custom inserts, our heat moldable, and here's an over-the-counter one. You see the raised arch and that fills in. Our heat moldable actually molds right to your arch and cups right in here to give you more added support. So no, when they say, and I always ask them, now, are you talking about when they say I have an arch? Now, you are talking about the arch on your foot. not the instep, the top of your foot.
Right.
And some people get that confused. Insteps, yes, are controlled by the adjustability of the shoe and the depth of the shoe. The arch is only corrected by a proper insert. So inserts and shoes are mandatory.
Right.
And why most of these tennis shoe people have a bunch of, excuse the French, crap for inserts, I just don't understand. We're inviting new styles in the pickleball world, and we're going to have an unbelievable just a standard insert in ours that's going to make us unique and different, and so on. So it's a marriage. It's between, and especially in the diabetic, anybody who walks, anybody who does anything, the two need to be united.
Right. So a lot of times it sounds like a lot of common foot problems, like just aching feet, not like specific hammer toes or, you know, more advanced problems, but your basic problems that people run into or are starting to experience because they've been healthy and now they're starting to notice problem. It sounds like width is one of the key issues that people run into. They don't realize that their feet are actually getting wider, so they don't know they need wider shoes. And then number two is not understanding the relationship between the shoe and the insert, that you need to have a good quality shoe and a good quality insert. And when you see inserts, over-the-counter inserts going for $40, $60, $80, I would imagine the manufacturers aren't always including those just because of their cost. And if you're trying to sell a cheaper pair of shoes or control margins, if you put it in an insert, you're going to drive your pricing up one way or the other.
Very much so. Example, I have a good friend of mine who called me, it was probably 6 months ago, and it said, and he has a website. He says, Ron, do you know how much these inserts cost you? I says, yeah, I do know. And he says, you're giving these things away free? Are you crazy? I says, no. In the medical business, our inserts helped us be the king in the medical field, dealing with diabetics, edema, swelling, and our wrists and everything else like that. But the insert, and I says, I don't want to get rich. I'd like to get rich, but I want to make these available for people to understand. And I've got a lot of guys in construction. You can buy these inserts. They're $80. We sell them for $68. And we, in turn, you'll only go through them about 4 months. That's about it. I tell you, if you wear them every day, 6 months if you push it, and they compress themselves down, and then the plastic loses the heat concept. You need to replace them, and so on from that aspect. But the element of both of them are very important, and it needs to be, and we're proud to be able to cover the widths, and we're proud to be able to even do custom that we only do in the pickleball world, but it is just unique and different, and that's why we keep growing.
All right, perfect. All right, well, that is it for foot health. So I think the key takeaway here, like I was saying earlier, is definitely make sure you're wearing wider shoes. If you're not sure if you're wearing wide shoes, you can go to dtfootwear.com. Like Ron said, about 3/4 of the way down, you'll see a red box that talks about fitment and sizing. Watch that video. Even if you don't plan on buying a pair of shoes, just find out if you're actually wearing the right size shoe. Right. And you might surprise yourself. And then, of course, quality inserts. All you got to do is just pull your insert out of your shoe. If you can flop it and it literally just folds back and forth, if it just bends, and like Ron was saying, no heel cup or that arch support, if it's missing any of that, you're actually putting your foot through a lot of stress that it doesn't need.
Right.
Anything else, sir?
No, it's just that you're right. You hit it right on the button, Ryan. That we get a number of people that do. We can get 20 to 30 different forms in a day, and not everybody buys shoes from us. And that's fine. And people I talk to don't always buy shoes. But if I can help somebody and create that help, that's so important, because like I said, when we did the medical, it was just amazing to see tears and God bless you and thank you. Right. And I mean, some people that couldn't wear shoes for, well, one case, guy couldn't wear shoes for 6 years. We put him on him. wanted to bet me $50 I couldn't fit him. I should have collected the $50. I put it on his foot. I should have collected it, but I didn't. And I put it on his foot, and he started crying because I had a couple of facilities I worked with to make sure we were doing things right and everything. And he just said, "This is the first time I've ever put on a shoe." It was, I think, an 1814E width. I could put on that I don't feel pain. I don't feel anything. I feel nothing but comfort. And over the years, and he was with us for years, because every year with the Medicare program, they got a new pair of shoes. We actually reduced his edema as well.
Oh, wow.
And we had to size him down smaller and so on. So yeah, we want to help. And that's why we keep growing. And I don't expect everybody I talk to buy, but if, like Ryan says, you fill in the chart, we're glad to give you the information. And that format had worked with a lot of specialists that we had in our medical business. And that's how they did it. They did it with a soft tape measure. It does work. It does work.
All right. Perfect. All right, everybody, if you have any questions, thoughts, comments, feel free to leave those below. If you'd like to talk to Ron, he will. All you got to do is go to the website, dtfootwear.com. You can call, text, or email. If you do call in, just ask for Ron. He's more than happy to answer any questions you have. Until next time, take care.